What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Wildcat Cave. Sorry it's been a while since I put out a video, but we're back at it with the SEC tournament right around the corner. And speaking of the SEC tournament, Kentucky has somehow snuck up to the 3 seed with only 3 games left in the regular season. After losing to Arkansas and Georgia, the season kind of seemed lost for the Cats. But every time I count Kentucky out, they pull out a big-time win to put themselves right back in the tournament. In this video, we're going to talk about what are the Cats going to face in Nashville, and how will the NCAA tournament seeding pan out for Kentucky? All right, guys, I need your help. Let me know what you want to see for the SEC tournament. Should I do a live stream before it starts where we can talk about predictions on each game and all of that sort of stuff, breakdowns and all of the fun stuff that comes along with that? Or I can release multiple shorter videos throughout the week of the SEC tournament and give my predictions on those. I already have a poll started on my community tab, so be sure to go on my channel, click the community tab, and vote on that poll. Let me know which one you would rather see, and whichever idea wins, I will announce in next week's video. Now, like I said a minute ago, Kentucky currently holds the 3 seed in the SEC tournament, and given where we were about a week and a half ago, that's pretty remarkable. And unless Texas A&M decides to lose every single game between now and the SEC tournament, and Kentucky can win every single game, the Cats really don't have a chance on moving up to that 2 seed. But that's okay. It doesn't matter, honestly. Even as the 3 seed, we would get a double bye, which is the most important thing in the SEC tournament. As of right now, our first game would either be against Auburn, Mississippi State, or LSU, depending on who wins out of all their games. Right now, Texas A&M is looking at playing the winner of the Arkansas and Georgia game, both of which those teams have beat us already, and Arkansas just got Nick Smith Jr. back. So honestly, if we're being 100% honest here, I would rather be the 3 seed, possibly playing Auburn in our first game, who doesn't look great right now, instead of being the 2 seed and playing Arkansas or Georgia, honestly. Also, if we assume the higher seed always wins out, we're still going to be playing Texas A&M in the semifinals anyway, so it's not like that really affects our next opponent. Also, being a 3 seed right now means we get to avoid playing Tennessee for a third time. Now, I know we've beaten them twice already, and they're already beginning to live up to their reputation as a postseason fraud. But even then, it's hard to beat any team 3 times in 1 year. Think back to Auburn in 2019. We beat them 3 times between the regular season, the SEC tournament, and then when we saw them for the 4th time in the Elite Eight, they beat us. We're obviously the better team that year, winning 3 straight against them, but the more you play a team, the more you give them an opportunity to figure you out and to beat you. So honestly, personally, I would like to avoid Tennessee until the finals if they can make it that far. But far, far more importantly than that, we avoid Alabama until the finals. They're the only SEC team I don't want to play in the postseason. They're one of the few teams who have similar talent to us and are a really, really bad matchup for the Cats. Their style can cause a lot of problems for Kentucky. Just the matchups and the way they play is not great for the Cats. With that being said, however, they can go cold on any given night. We've seen it already this year. They go cold. They have really poor shooting nights, and at times when that happens, they can be beat by literally anybody. Any team in the country can beat them when they have a poor shooting night. So by maintaining our 3 seed status in the SEC, we would avoid playing them until the finals as well. Again, it's not that I think that we can't beat them. I just think that it causes a lot of matchup problems with us when they're shooting well. But they're definitely beatable. So it's no one I'm really scared to play or anything like that. I would just like to avoid them until the finals if possible, and being a 3 seed allows us to do that. Also, if you've been following them, they may or may not be without their best player, Brandon Miller, here soon, and Nate Oates is in a little bit of trouble over his comments on that whole situation. If you don't know what's going on, just Google it. I don't really want to get into that here on this channel. Just overall, not a great situation, or honestly a great look for Alabama in the Tide. I will say, however, if Bama doesn't have Brandon Miller later in the season, they all of a sudden become insanely beatable. Now, the only real problem Kentucky would encounter would be losing the 3 seed and falling to a 4, which would then have us playing Alabama in the semifinals of the SEC tournament, which again isn't the end of the world, but it's not really ideal. I'd like to get them in the finals instead. Kentucky holds a 1-game lead and the tiebreaker over the 4 seed Tennessee right now, and a 1-game lead over the 5 seed Auburn. Auburn really is the team to watch for right now. They aren't playing well, but they come to Rupp this Saturday, and if they beat Kentucky, I believe they would jump Tennessee and Kentucky in the standings and take the 3 seed since they would hold the tiebreaker over us. Now, there would still be plenty of chances for us to take back that because they do play Alabama and Tennessee after us to close their season, and honestly, that's probably 2 losses for them, but we would likely make it would likely make the Vanderbilt or Arkansas game for us a must-win game to maintain that 3 seed status. So in all likelihood, we should finish third in the SEC standings before heading to Nashville, which isn't a terrible spot to be in. Like I said, being a 3 seed is actually one of the easiest paths to the finals of the SEC tournament for us. And you never know, Alabama or Tennessee could very well be upset in one of their first 2 games. And then as long as Kentucky takes care of business, we're looking at a team we are clearly better than in order to bring home another SEC title. And then that brings us to the NCAA tournament. Now, as of this morning, Joe Lunardi has Kentucky listed as an 8 seed in the Big Dance, which honestly is pretty incredible jump from not even being in the tournament a week ago. I know that if we told everyone before the season that we would be happy being an 8 seed right now after being ranked preseason number 4 in the country, everybody would be disappointed. But considering how the season has gone, that's actually a pretty decent improvement, and there's still plenty of room for us to move up a few seed lines. I believe in one of my other videos, I said we had the potential to get up to about a 7 or 8 seed. Well, now we're there. And now I think that in an absolutely perfect world, there's chances for a 5 seed. Now, that would probably take us winning out and winning the SEC tournament, but I mean, it's not impossible. And honestly, depending on what happens around the country, I could even see it getting to a 4 seed. Now, that's extremely, extremely unlikely. Kentucky has some tough games to finish the SEC, and then, of course, the SEC tournament, and it would require quite a bit of help from other teams losing ahead of us. We still have Arkansas to play at Arkansas, which is possibly the toughest arena in the SEC besides Rupp. So realistically, I think if Kentucky can only lose maybe only to Arkansas and then win a game or 2 in the SEC tournament, we're probably looking at a 6 to a 7 seed, depending on what happens. If we climb to a 7 seed, though, I think the bracket really, really starts to open up for Kentucky in March. Being an 8 or a 9 seed means we would have to play a 1 seed in the round of 32. So if we're an 8, in the very first round, we play a 9, and then assuming the 1 seed doesn't lose, we immediately play a 1 seed in the round of 32. And that's assuming we win the first game, which we've also found out is not a safe assumption. But, just roll with me here on this one. If we can climb to a 7 seed, that means we would play a 2 in the round of 32, which right now are teams like Arizona, Baylor, UCLA, Texas, those sort of teams. Nobody's super elite, but pretty good, solid teams. I don't know about you all, but those teams don't really scare me. I mean, they can definitely beat us, but they definitely don't scare me. And if we can somehow manage to pull out a 6 seed, which would probably take either winning out and making the SEC championship or losing to Arkansas and winning the SEC, then we would be looking at playing a 3 seed in the round of 32. And those are teams like Tennessee, Iowa State, Virginia, who just lost to Boston College pretty handily, and Kansas State. And those teams really don't scare me. If we got any of those teams in the round of 32, I think I would even like our chances almost. Now, again, that's assuming we can get out of the first day, which, shown by St. Peter's in last year, is not a guaranteed bet. Now, Kentucky is going to be a team that nobody wants to see in the tournament, I promise you. Even though we haven't proven to be a great team this year, we have the talent on the roster to beat any team in the tournament. Normally, if you're a top 3 seed, you have better talent than everyone you play going into the Sweet 16. But there's not many, if any, teams out there that have better talent than Kentucky. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to beat them, obviously. We have much better talent than South Carolina and Georgia, but it means that our chances of beating a 2 are a lot better than a normal 7 seed would have. Whichever top seed we get in the round of 32 is going to be pissed they have to play Kentucky as a top seed. Typically, being a top seed gets rewarded by playing teams that they are far better than early, but whoever draws Kentucky in their bracket is going to be pissed. Either way, Kentucky has a pretty good chance to win their first tournament game since 2019 in just a few weeks. Now, something to look forward to here on the channel, however, is, of course, everything I have planned as far as videos go for the SEC and NCAA tournament. But I'm also going to be hosting a Wildcat Cave bracket challenge once the tournament begins. I'll talk more about that later, but I'm really excited for it. I hope every single person that watches my videos enters that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and hopefully get quite a few people involved in this bracket challenge we're going to do. That is going to wrap up this week's video, guys. Be sure to go vote in my poll right now on my community tab. Let me know what you want to see for the SEC tournament and subscribe to stay up to date on all the stuff that we have planned for March Madness. Also, like and comment to help the algorithm. I will see you guys next week, and we'll have a ton of information in next week's video regarding what we're going to do for the SEC and NCAA tournament. I'll see you guys then. Until then, go Cats.